Hi, I'm Jim Quancy, Senior Director, Software Partner Business Development at Autodesk. And that's a mouthful. What that's about is I have a team of engineers and business development people that work with partners, whether that's a customer or an ISV, otherwise known as a third party, or a system integrator, to use Autodesk platforms. Today, this first part of a seven-part series on Forge is about Autodesk's cloud web-based platform, Forge. But my team also supports our desktop platforms, including AutoCAD, Revit, Inventor, Civil 3D, Max, Maya, and almost all Autodesk desktops. So we're here to help. But with that, let's talk about what Forge is about. And again, this is part one of a seven-part series. I did a recording like this 2 years back, and in 1 hour I covered all of Forge, but today it can't be done in an hour. A lot's happened with Forge, a lot more is possible, and there's lots and lots of examples I'm looking forward to sharing with you during this series. Okay, basics about Forge. It's a set of web service APIs. It is something a web developer uses. So, though this series is perfectly useful for someone who's a business manager, a C-level exec, a product manager, you don't have to be a web developer to use these videos to learn what you can do and what you can ask for and what you can expect from Forge. But the thing that's important to everyone is it is based on cloud and web standard technology. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, RESTful APIs, open source standard web technologies work with it just great, like Node and React, Angular, Microsoft.NET, and many of the examples I will be showing, examples done by partners and examples done by some of my engineers, use virtually all these standard technologies, including public cloud technologies like AWS, Microsoft's Azure, and so on. The key thing about Forge is it is building blocks. And when you put together a mashup, using several services, they won't all be from Autodesk. But the beauty is with Forge is we give you these building blocks that work great with design and engineering data. And that at its heart is what Forge is all about. It's liberating, allowing you to create value from design and engineering data that has been typically locked away. You needed a heavy CAD desktop, you needed some client server installation. And now, through a web page, through a mobile app, you can leverage all that valuable information using standard technologies, which means most any web developer can do this kind of work, including some of our best work has been done by university students, people straight out of college who didn't know what they couldn't do, so they went ahead and did it. Now, this is also about digital transformation. Really, if you take a step back and go, what are people doing with Forge today? It's helping their businesses with digital transformation, connecting data across the enterprise, making data more available, more accessible, combining data from various different sources. This is why, as a business, you care. Or as a system integrator doing work for a customer, you care. Or as a third party building apps to help a customer going through a digital transformation, you care. And clearly, if you're an Autodesk customer, again, why you should care. It's about helping with your digital transformation, making design and engineering data an integral part of your digital transformation, right? So again, I've probably said enough about digital transformation, and I suspect you already have a strategy to support your digital transformation, whether again as a system integrator or an ISV or as a customer, whether you're in manufacturing or construction or design or infrastructure, kind of whatever. You can use Forge to help with your digital transformation. Forge enables the digital transformation for design and make. Now, a little bit more on digital transformation before we jump into Forge. It typically starts with these silos of data and standardizing on where you keep your data, where you keep your single sources of truth. You'll standardize on your office tools, you'll standardize on ERP, collaboration, maybe it's Slack, maybe it's Microsoft Teams, maybe it's simply email. You standardize on your CRM system. And with Forge, you can standardize on a way to make your design and make information accessible to the enterprise. Because digital transformation is very much about connecting these sources of data. So you have single sources of truth that you connect, that you federate to allow for better decision making, to allow for a tighter connection between your customers, yourself, to allow for connections between customers, design, build, maintain, and sustain, to make it a more efficient organization, to make you a more competitive organization. And again, Forge can help you make design and make data an integral part of your digital transformation, really add an extra power, an extra engine to your digital transformation. Now, Forge is setting building blocks, and the hardest thing I have explaining Forge to people is they want to know what it does. But this is like a 5-year-old given a set of blocks. What are they going to build with it? Are they going to build a plane, a train, a spaceship? Is it going to be a building? Is it going to be a tree? Is it going to be a person? Is it going to be, something more abstract? You can do all kinds of things. So the way I'm going to talk mostly about Forge is by giving you examples. And hopefully you will look at some of these examples and go, oh, we could use that. That can add great value to our company's digital transformation. Okay, so one set of Forge services takes CAD data of almost any type, over 60 different file formats, and turns it into data. And when I say data, yes, something you can visualize, which provides context, but also data that you can count, that you can measure, that you can use to connect your design and make information for things like planning and scheduling and cost estimating and fabrication and to ERP and to CRM and to maintenance and to purchasing. And sometimes it's just about simple viewing. So Forge really liberates you from being dependent on a desktop CAD system and allows you to get this data, this information out there, and in a secure way where you don't need to share the original binary file. You can share the information you want, exactly what you want, with who you want, using standard web technologies. And with that, I'm going to start with just a very simple web page. This is a responsive web page. I can sit here and change the zoom level, and it changes sizes, automatically reblocks. Web developers understand reactive web pages. This means this web page, you can go here with your phone. In fact, I encourage you to do this. Viewer-rocks.autodesk.io. Pull your phone out, go here now, and here's a model. Again, I'm going to be showing quite a bit of 3D models, but Forge works with 2D drawings. It's not just models. Frequently, it's a mix of 2D, 3D, and data. I'm going to jump out here and look at this user interface. Very simple user interface where I can do things like explode. And I want to look into this design and get information from it. Right? So properties, let me get the properties of a part, because frequently Forge, it's about the data. The visualization is really about showing context. And again, I want information about specific entities, specific objects, right? But it's not just mechanical stuff. Maybe I want to do a building. How about this house or a shop or something fun on the media and entertainment side of things, but let's do a house here. And the interesting part is, I don't need to know where this house came from. Is it an AutoCAD thing? Did it come from Revit? Did it come from Navisworks? Did it come from a non-Autodesk product like MicroStation? Did it come from an IFC file? Don't know, don't care. And you know what? Your web developer who builds these kind of experiences doesn't need to know, doesn't need to care. They can use their basic web skills. And again, we can take this apart. Again, frequently this tends to be about the data. So why don't we go get some data, right, on this washer dryer. Easy stuff. And this is a web page, and this is important, built in a day. In fact, an experienced developer can build a web page like this in just a few hours. And getting your first viewable up on your website If it's a full stack web developer you have working on it, it'll just be a few hours their first time and a whole lot less than that their second time, third time. Easy thing to do. And I encourage people, what you want to do is you want to do something simple. And here's the thing with digital transformation. That's a long-term vision. That's about what you're going to do over a period of a year or two or three or four. But you want to get there in an agile way. You want to get there one step at a time. And I really encourage people using Forge. Have a long-term vision, have that goal you want to get to, but start small. Build an experience in just a few days. Get an experience in front of a real user that you're trying to give value to, that you're trying to help them get their job done faster, better decision making. Build something in a few days, in a week. Show it to them, get their feedback, make it better. Because again, you're going to be going on a learning path of what you can do with Forge. What's easy to do, what can be done in hours, what takes days, what takes weeks. So you want to start simple, start small, agile, week, 2 weeks at a time. Just work your way through it. So in this first simple example of using Forge to do simple viewing, you may have be thinking, so what is Forge? What are the pieces? And at the beginning, I told you Forge was a set of building blocks that you can use, and you can use with other services from other companies beyond Autodesk. Here are the 6 Forge Web Service APIs, and it's sort of 7 depending on how you look at it. Let me go through these. Data management, so moving files back and forth, both across various Autodesk hubs, but also back and forth from other sources of data, which could be, a public service like AWS or Google Drive or Microsoft Azure or Ignite or SharePoint or Box or Dropbox. We've got the Design Automation API, which are CAD engines in the cloud, which you didn't see yet. Model Derivative API and Viewer, which again, when you're grabbing files and you want to see them or get data from them, such as to count, schedule, link, you'd be using the Model Derivative API that deals with the over 60 different design and engineering formats that Forge gives you easy access to. We've got the Reality Capture API, turning photos into meshes, models. BIM 360 API, which is actually several APIs. It's more like 6 or 7 at the moment. Given BIM 360 is structured in modules, and different modules have different APIs. Though some of the APIs you work with when you work with BIM 360 data is the same Forge APIs I already mentioned: data management, model derivative, the viewer, because BIM 360 itself uses those same services. And then there's Webhooks API, which is about getting notifications. Again, notifications when there's changes being made in BIM 360, in wherever your files you may be trying to synchronize between Forge and, say, SharePoint, OneDrive, Dropbox, Ignite, Google Drive, or kind of wherever. In the simple example, I showed kind of the simplest, viewing. We just used these 2 different services, and it's really 3 components. So the 2 services: data management, grab the file so I can view it; model derivative, translate it so then I can see it and see the data within it, that parameter attribute data, and the viewer itself, the JavaScript client. Those are the pieces you saw. But keep in mind, what else did you see? That website could have been hosted on Microsoft Azure. It might have been hosted on AWS. Could have been hosted with Google. Could have been hosted with lots of different people. We were using HTML. That example was using the React framework on the client side and Node on the server side. So this is just classic web and how you put the pieces together in a very quick and easy way to create these experiences. And in this case, this example, this is the type of thing you build in a couple hours your first time, and that you can build in minutes your second, third, and fourth time around. And, again, Forge works with many different file formats. Here's kind of the mechanical manufacturing side of things. Siemens NX, IGES files, PTC's Creo, Pro Engineer, CATIA, Fusion, Inventor, lots and lots of file formats. And you can go to the forge.autodesk.com website. If you look in documentation under model derivative, you can see the full list of the 60 plus file formats. It's almost everything you could think of. And I'll tell you, we have dozens of different machine images that handle the different translations. We have thousands of servers that are doing these translations, and they get improved every day because these file formats change. And that is one of the big values. Autodesk has several teams whose job is to keep these translators updated. So again, so from your perspective, you can use your design and make information as just regular enterprise information that can be easily shared. And I'll be showing lots and lots of examples in these as I work my way through these Forge application areas. So again, take a step back. How can Forge enable your digital transformation? Can help with visualization, can help with organization, can help connect people. It also can automate. It has CAD engines on the cloud where you can reduce tasks that may take hours, days, weeks, months, and reduce them to minutes. Automation, that's a big one. Okay, so what are customers and partners building with Forge? And this is where you can learn from what other people have done. Here's the 8 big areas. And I'm going to be covering 7 of these 8 in these different parts videos that I'm going to be doing. Data visualization and analysis is going to be my next one, and that's a biggie. It's been around the longest. It's what people have been doing with Forge for a very long time. Newer is the use of Forge for digital twin and augmented and virtual reality. 2 years ago, when I first showed you what Forge could do, it did include these. These are some of the things innovative partners have done. And I'll tell you, having an ecosystem means innovation happens, right? And then I'll do a session on SaaS integration and then catalogs. Now, configurators and design automation, I'm going to do those together as a single session because they are quite connected. You'll see quite often with configurators, you're using design automation, you're using these automation engines on the cloud. The other thing, getting started, if you're a developer and you don't want to sit through the videos to see what's possible and you just want to learn the basics or you want to learn what's possible, what is Forge? Jim is sitting here saying that it's basic web. Is it really that? Well, we have a step-by-step tutorial, learnforge.autodesk.io. Just go here. It'll walk you through it. It'll start with a very simple, what do you need to do to get a key? How do you get started? OAuth for authentication, walks you through a basic viewer, and then it takes off from there, and it'll walk you through using automation engines, doing integrations with collaboration tools like BIM 360, and really get you going. Now, that said, don't be bashful. Ask for help when you're getting started. I have near 30 engineers who are experts. And when you send an email to forge.help@autodesk.com, one of my engineers picks it up and we'll get back to you. Tell us what you want to do. Tell us what you're thinking of. Tell us the kind of help you need. Now, you could ask a specific question with Forge.help, or you could just ask, hey, I'd like to talk to someone about what I'm trying to do. So you can point me to the best examples, the best code samples that are out there today. That'll get me started fast. Or maybe I just want some advice on should I do something? Maybe somebody else has already done it and I'd like to talk to someone. So again, use Forge.help. Bashful, you don't want to talk one-on-one. Hey, just do a Google search. How do you like to learn? Is it through code samples on GitHub? Is it Stack Overflow so you can see what the community says about Forge, not just what Jim says? Do you want to go check out our blog? That is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of postings on frequently asked questions that we've decided to really do a kind of an in-depth look at. Or here, you're probably seeing this on YouTube, and there's the Autodesk Forge YouTube channel. Just do a Google search. There's lots of resources out there. And of course, there's always the formal documentation, information on pricing, getting your first license, your free trial license with a free 100 cloud credits. Just go to forge.autodesk.com to do that. And keep your eye on the prize. What's this really about? It's about helping you do more. It's about helping you do better for your customers, for your users, for your company. And it's about doing it with less, whether that's less time, less people, less resources, better designs resulting in more sustainable results. Forge can help with all of those things. So keep an eye on the benefits. Don't get too tied into the technology. The technology is there to help you grasp these benefits, right? About your digital transformation, about making your design and make information an integral part of your digital transformation, allowing you to federate, to connect the data in your different data repositories, to make it so you can have single sources of truth for all your data. Forge connects you with your design and make data. The other thing I thought I'd do as an introduction is just recognize there's a huge ecosystem out there today around Forge. There's over 2,000 companies who are monthly active developers today using Forge, along with 1,000 engineers at Autodesk who both build and use Forge to build Autodesk services. So you want to take advantage of this. The fact that there's all this innovation happening. Some of these folks, some system integrators who can help you. Some of them are ISVs, third parties who have apps that may do what you want to do, so you don't need to build it. Or sometimes it's just learning from them. Again, maybe it's via Stack Overflow where you can share, or when you ask questions from us, you can know how much we've learned. And one thing about an ecosystem is it's a source of innovation that we leverage and you should leverage too. This happens across many industries. Here's an example with Autodesk BIM 360 in the building and construction industry, but it happens in manufacturing. You want to take advantage of the fact that there's all these partnerships, all these Forge fluent folks who can help you. Because it's not just being about dependent on a single company, Autodesk. It's about being part of a community. And here's our certified system integrators. If you're looking for a system integrator with a specific tool set, go to forge.autodesk.com, see the latest list, or reach out to us with forge.help@autodesk.com. And that's it. So this is the end of our first of 7-part overview of what's possible with Forge. Thank you for joining me at the start, and I'll see you soon.